yes, I mentioned Otto Graham's name because Josh Allen did something that no one's done since Otto Graham. Surely that would be enough to win the game, right? Let's go over to SoFi.
To go in regulation. Stafford from the shotgun, looking left, throws right, receiver screen, caught, blocked, touchdown, Puka Nacua! Touchdown LA! With 1:54 remaining, a receiver screen for a 2-possession lead over the Buffalo Bills.
That is our friend JB Long on KSPN. Yes, Puka Nacua on another brilliant play call from Sean McVay. More brilliant execution from the blockers on the outside. They're so good at that. And yes, this receiver going 12 for 162 and a touchdown through the air. Also one on the ground. There just aren't many receivers like Puka Nacua. There's not many players like Matthew Stafford. There's not many players like Josh Allen who might have helped his MVP case on a day where they didn't win. 44-42 is the final. The Rams pull off the upset. Patrick called it all week long.
That's something.
And yet, we go to you, Shook. When you drill down and think about this game, how did the Rams do it? What was the difference between these two excellent quarterbacks?
Man, the Rams made every play that they needed to make to get the lead that they needed to outlast the Bills. It was the first drive, was like a haymaker, a 12-play, 70-yard march that ends in a Kyren Williams touchdown run. And it's just back and forth, back and forth. Then they get the punt block, and suddenly they're up by 10 points. That was the difference. They needed to have just enough breathing room to stay out in front of this Bills offense that we know can be very explosive with Josh Allen. Matthew Stafford has a career or a season-high 320 passing yards in a season in which he's been very up and down, very hard to pin down. He was very solid today, and they came through in the clutch. They faced a 4th and 5 on that drive, a couple plays that preceded that Puka Nacua touchdown. Stafford drops back. Tom Brady's already second-guessing the decision to go for it on 4th and 5, but as we know, the worst place to be in football is up 6 with a few minutes left to go, and Sean McVay says, we're not getting stuck in that position. We're going for it. Stafford drops. He fires a sidearm rocket over the middle to Tutu Atwell. Perfect pass, perfect timing, first down. They did everything they needed to in the biggest spots, and that's how you beat a team like the Buffalo Bills. Home field advantage or not, that was what they needed to deliver, and they did.
And it took a lot. It took a lot of effort. The last time the Bills lost the game, it was back in Week 5 to the Texans, where Josh Allen had that 9 of 30 game. This decidedly not a Josh Allen 9 of 30 game. One of the better games that we've seen Josh Allen play, which is saying something considering the caliber of football player that it is. And so Bills fans aren't going to blame their generational quarterback. They're going to look back to that decision that happened a couple of plays before Puka Nacua goes into the end zone. There's a 3rd down where the Rams are called for a holding. You can either decline the holding penalty and make it 4th and 7, or you could take the holding penalty, make it 3rd and 17. They took the penalty. Stafford gets one completion. He gets the completion that Shook was mentioning to Tutu Atwell. They go on to score. And then after they score that touchdown, the Bills drive down the field with no timeouts. They get a 2nd and goal on the 1-yard line. And they elect to go for a quarterback sneak, and they don't get it, so they have to use a timeout, which necessitates the onside kick, which leads to the Rams win.
Yeah, there's a lot of focus in Buffalo and nationally on how Sean McDermott finished that game. I get it. McDermott hasn't been good in those spots before. It was the wrong decision to call the timeout there. The sneak, to me, is understandable.
Yeah.
Just because it's Josh Allen and it's such a successful play and you're on the one and maybe you're thinking the Rams are thinking that you're going to throw it there to save your timeouts and save the time. That said, when they lined up, it was obvious what they were going to do, and the Rams stuffed it earlier in the game, and you have to give the Rams credit for stuffing it. This was a game with very few great defensive plays, and they did something not many people have done in that spot. They stuffed it. The problem is then taking the timeout. You could have lined back up and then run a play, and you would have lost 15 seconds, but even then, 15, 20 seconds is less valuable than that timeout because that forced them having to go for an onside kick. I just think, Nick, in a game where these two quarterbacks were that good, making that the focus is just missing the forest for the trees because the Bills had a very long shot to win in that scenario anyways. There is very little about this game that would have indicated they're about to get a 3-and-out when the Rams know that they need to get a first down. We just saw it. The Rams were picking up first downs when they absolutely needed to. That last drive that they went on was a 6-minute, 55-second drive where they killed him. So I would have expected Stafford to get it done in the end anyways, no matter what McDermott did, because the Bills' defense, if you want to point fingers, that's where the problem is. And some of these plays, you can't even point the finger at the defense. You said solid out of Stafford. This wasn't my game, but, man, every other time I looked up, there were otherworldly throws. The 19-yard out he had to Puka, the no-look he had a deep one to Cup. I mean, Stafford was absolutely sensational, and our friend Jordan Rodriguez is killing herself because she took him off quarterback island, and we supported him, and he goes out there and he just absolutely balls out. So it's pretty amazing to outshine Josh Allen on a day like this, Shook.
Yeah, and I've been wanting something like this from him all season because he's just been so volatile. But it was beautiful to see. It was beautiful to see him and Sean McVay working in tandem like we've known them to do over the last few years, and doing so effectively against a team that you knew you were going to have to put up a lot of points against. But to go back to what you were talking about, the idea that you were going to get off the field in the final defensive possession if you actually kept your timeouts, not going to happen. The Rams went 11 for 15 on third down today, and a lot of that was because of Matthew Stafford and the type of performance he had. It's interesting because they're 7-6 now. They're still in the hunt in the NFC West, a division that still doesn't want to sort itself out. And there's been multiple times where the Rams have been right on the precipice of taking a dirt nap, of us burying them for the season. Yet each time they find a way to fight back, get back in the conversation with wins like this. And this is the best one they've had all season. I know there was a lot of points and the defense wasn't really there, but it was the best one they had all season. And it just reminds us they're not going away. We have to take them seriously no matter who they play for the rest of the season.
Yeah, it was a moment that they had to have. They go to San Francisco on Thursday night. We'll get to the rest of the division shortly, but they are right in it. So many crazy stats in this game. I mentioned Otto Graham. So Josh Allen, first quarterback with 3 touchdowns passing and 3 touchdowns rushing since Otto Graham. Ya boy, Shook. I mean, they say the Browns haven't won, titles. They were winning titles like crazy. And for every list that you do the greatest of all time or whatever, and you're trying to do it irrespective of era. If you look at Otto Graham's Pro Football Reference page, and you know that they black out anytime you're leading the league in that category, all of his categories are black. There is no other quarterback that has led the league in everything to even the fraction of a degree of Otto Graham. So just shout out to Otto Graham.
Shout out to Otto Graham.
I know it was a totally different sport back then, but he truly did dominate it in a way that other quarterbacks probably never have. So it's cool when a guy like Josh Allen can bring his name up, Shooky.
I got to slide in one more trivia question for you. You guys know I like to do this.
Okay.
Otto Graham wore 2 numbers. Hide that Pro Football Reference page.
Okay.
His second number was 14. What was his first jersey number?
I don't know, man. It was probably something stupid if you're telling me. 79 or something.
Was.
Yeah.
60. It was 60.
out there balling, wearing 60 at the quarterback spot.
I think it's pretty clear to look at Stafford since Puka Nacua has come back and before, because one of the reasons I was surprised Jordan was the one that brought up to pick off Stafford, because I thought Stafford was playing better over the last few weeks. Now, I totally supported it too, but she wanted to point out it was the right decision at the time, but she totally regrets it now. But also, he unlocks some of Sean McVay's creativity. Right now, Puka Nacua has 83 yards after being the guy in motion since he's come back. That's more than double anyone else in the entire NFL. Their whole offense is kind of Puka Nacua in motion and setting him up. Jordan pointed out a really clever play where they ran the same screen touchdown the last 2 weeks in a row to Nacua, but they invert where the splits are and the alignments, and they just change these little things, but they call the same play, and then it works, and the defense doesn't know it. Jordan, actually, let's throw to her in the press room over across the street.
Sean, you've seen just about every game possible from Puka Nacua in just 2 3/4 season, or 1 3/4 seasons at this point. Did he reach a new level for you tonight?
He was such an igniter today. I thought, obviously, Matthew was in total command. I thought Kyron and Blake both had some really tough, hard-earned runs. I thought the line were straining a little bit, but, Puka, for him to come up the way that he did, ultimately to be able to cap that drive off that put us up 9 points, love to be able to get the extra point there, but he was awesome, and then he's, the artist gave me a good stat. Now he's giving me all types of stats after he missed Cooper Kupp. He's like, hey, how about this? What What the hell are you talking about? First player in Rams history to go over 160 receiving and have a rushing touchdown. Who the hell comes up with that number right there? All right, but that was he was awesome.
Facts. And he was singularly the reason that I was taking the Rams in this game. I felt confident that Puka would be able to get open and have success. Look at his route combinations, crosses, wide receiver screens, run 5 of them, 3 outs, a hitch, a slant, an in, a corner. He does it all for this team. He does everything. And the Bills, talent-wise, and again, Puka Nacua is an elite wide receiver. He's better than a whole lot of folks. I think the Bills have an issue covering elite wide receivers. If not for the Nico Collins injury, I think Nico would have had a huge game. And again, this is a game the Rams barely won, and the Bills are a very good team. But in this particular aspect, I think
you called it. It's a rare Patrick peacocking. No, not a rare Patrick win. But I mean, you talking about your own good pick. It took a lot. Look, this is the first time in NFL history that two teams had this many touchdowns without any giveaways. This, according to Next Gen Stats, I think our guy Dante pointed out, teams were 245-0 with 6 touchdowns and 0 giveaways until the Bills lost this game. So an awesome offensive performance, Eric, you saw across the street before heading out here with your baby and your bride.
Yes, my 6-month-old baby was there to watch the Rams upset the Bills, and it was fun though. It was great. It was a great game. Walking over from there, like I was here before the game, and I walked over. I saw some Rams fans, and I was like, hey, I just want points. I want points. I want to have a good time. But in that scenario in my head, the Bills win, but Walker Rosenthal got it. Every play they needed, I'm watching 17 on the line, and he was there. The catch on the sideline, toe tap, like it's a catch of the year candidate. He was nasty all game, and it was fun. It was a good time. I go to these games. I try not to be. I'm not an analyst. I'm not on that side of the glass, guys. I watch. I have fun. It was a good time. But sucks. Hey,
you got your Dodgers hat on. They're world champs. As losses go, it's not a conference loss. Obviously, it damages their chances to get the 1 seed, but they already have their division championship in their pocket. They will regroup.